everyone, and welcome to the Medium Next Door, and my name is Bonnie Page. So happy to have some guests here today. I'll start with Brant. Brant, say hi to everybody and please introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Brant, the evidential medium. Thanks for being here. Well, thanks for having me, Bonnie. I'm glad I'm
happy
here.
to have you, Brant. And we have a special guest that Brant actually brought along, and this is medium Nancy. And I'm going to have Brant read a little bit about Nancy, so you'll have a little information on her too.
Yeah. So Nancy and I met quite a couple of years ago, and we've become fast friends. Nancy's actually a spirit artist, and she's actually recently written a book, The Divine Love Affair. Her work as an intuitive soul guide allows her to help people discover the dynamics of their soul. She helps revive people's spirit and reconnect them to their soul. As an intuitive Akashic reader, Nancy recognizes people desires more. They want more from their lives, and she helps them discover what they are longing for in their relationships. So careers, quality of life. Nancy's all about helping people remember the souls for their dreams for them. So
Thanks.
glad to be here, Nancy. Glad you're here, Nancy.
Thanks for asking me, both of you. Thanks for connecting us too, Brent.
No, my pleasure.
Yeah, we're so happy to bring this show to you today. And today with Nancy, we're going to be talking about the 7 steps to soul power living. And Nancy has also written this. So I'm going to give her a couple of words, and we're just going to hit on some of the 7 steps. Right, Nancy?
Perfect. Absolutely.
This is all about creating a life that you love, filled with abundance, confidence, and fulfillment. Right, Nancy?
Yeah, so we are created from divine love, and we, as mediums, we always prove that the continuity of life is that when we pass over, that we go back to heaven, that we go back to that love. Mm-hmm. And as a medium, it just came to my attention that many people, we are created from that love. We're going back to that love. So the miracle is really living in that love now, really feeling aware of that love and understanding that that's, how we're made. So Spirit was saying, can you just kind of give that message to people?
It's a great message, because that's really what we have is right now, because we're kind of in the middle, right? Exactly. And we need to live with that love.
Nancy, could you actually explain what the Akashic journey is? Because I don't know if even our viewers, I know I'm not all that familiar with what that is entire.
Yeah, so the soul power living is basically from my Akashic work, which is the Akashic is a very old Sanskrit word, and it makes it sound more complicated than it is, which is really about going back to that unconditional love of Spirit, the Creator. So going back to that wholeness, as opposed to here, sometimes we have things pulled apart a little bit. Mm-hmm. You got a little bit of this here, a little bit of this there, and Akashic is about the wholeness of the Creator's essence.
It's so interesting to
thanks.
me. So the pathway to access soul power living.
Yeah, so I actually came up with a formula from Spirit, and I'm going to be cheating a little bit as if I look
That's
down.
Okay.
So the way that it works for me, and the way that I feel that works for other people to access that high creative connection is, first of all, by feeling your feelings, not judging them, not trying to make a goal out of them, but just know how you really, really feel, and then that will lead you to a sense of feeling safe within yourself, because you're listening to yourself. Mm-hmm. And how many times do we need to be heard so that we feel okay? And that feeling okay leads to creativity in thinking and living. So as we feel a sense of well-being, all of a sudden, like, oh, how about this? How about that? I really love this. I'd love to make this out of that. And once we are in that creative space and moving around, we start to become into a state of being, rather a state of doing. Big difference. Being in the moment. When you're an artist, if you're a painter or anything, being in that moment, the more we try, the stiffer the painting gets, but the more that we would just respond and react to the color.
Go with the flow a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I know, too, sometimes it's good to just be quiet, right? Because that's when we receive all our divine messages and right?
We get out of the thinking.
If we're always listening to music or on our phone or doing something, even in the car these days, right? Sometimes it's good to just turn off the radio and just listen.
Right.
Right? And so step 1, amazingly, is listen and like.
And that's first step. This is my favorite step. I keep going back to this step, is really check in with what you like, what resonates with you, what makes you happy. And I'm not talking about that trip to Hawaii, which I've really been looking forward to, but I'm talking about that cup of tea. Instead of drinking that other tea, that herbal tea that you have to get rid of, drink the one you want. Do you know what I'm saying? Really get that living daily life joy in your world, because that's telling you you're okay. That's telling you that life is worth living. A lot of times when people are in deep grief or trauma and they're very far out, they need to bring normalcy into your life. So what is it that brings normalcy? What brings a sense of well-being? And this is worth living, like those favorite grapes or that chocolate or those socks. Throw those socks away, get those new socks, or just that walk. And
So kind of honor yourself
Honor
every day on a higher level. You know, kind of
Exactly.
like bring out the good china instead of eating off the paper plates if the good china makes you happy.
Exactly, and the reason for that is when we love ourselves, the divine guidance, the divinity, the unconditional love that we have every single day, when we love ourselves, that's when we get out of the way and we let that love come through. When we're picking on ourselves or we're forcing ourselves into a box we don't fit into, we can't feel the love. We can't feel God's love. So settle down and like yourself, love your, and then
It's
you
all
start
about
to-
that
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
unconditional love that God has for us,
Right,
and we're
right.
a child of God. So we need
Exactly.
to keep feeling that love and give that love back to ourselves
Exactly.
and each other.
And
Right.
each other.
So when you're looking to listen, like what do you do to go about saying to get yourself centered in order to listen to what your soul or heart or somebody else is, on a higher plane is telling you?
Well, getting myself to listen first, I have to feel safe in my environment, and I have to feel safe within my own inner environment. And that would lead us to, once I know what I like, know where I am in the present moment, then I learn the second step is to have a heart and soul conversation with myself, which is to build sacred space through connecting through my heart. So when I like my life, I can get to my heart and I can allow that higher power to touch my heart, and then I can start to listen to that heart.
I think everything comes from that heart chakra, right? Your heart.
It is.
Everything that we put out and everything that we give back to ourselves. But I think the bottom line is that heart and that love.
Exactly. Our heart is the most powerful, most energetic organ within our whole body, but then our heart center too is the most powerful, resilient. Our heart and soul always knows what to do, even in the worst of times.
Even if we think
Yeah.
we don't.
If we think we don't,
Right.
stand still and just calm down.
Try to listen.
And try to listen and have a cup of tea or whatever.
I could go for a
chocolate or
cup of tea.
chocolate. Yeah. I know.
Next time I'll give you guys a cup of tea.
Yes, it'll be coffee time with Bonnie, Brand, and Nancy.
There you go. So how to have a heart and soul conversation. Just breathing in. The breath is a
Release, the
lot,
breath.
right? I don't
Yeah,
think a lot
yeah.
of people realize that your breathing means so
means
much
so
to you.
much.
Breathing in, breathing
in,
out,
and then-
calming yourself,
Exactly.
going to that place of
Exactly.
soul.
Well, what happens to us when we're breathing that calm breath, we are taking ourselves into the calm place where we're leaving the fight or flight reaction, and we're telling our bodies physically, mentally, emotionally that we're safe in the
And we're
moment.
okay.
And we're okay.
We're okay.
And then we can access our heart that way. And it's a beautiful skill to have, so it refreshes you in the moment.
I think what everyone should kind of take with them from today is if you need to stop and take a few breaths, no matter where you are, in an elevator, in your car, wherever, take that time to take a couple breaths, or
Absolutely.
go in the ladies' room or the men's room and just focus on that breath and just give yourself a moment. And sometimes you
Absolutely.
just come out feeling so much
Sometimes
better.
we think we need to calm down and have the answer after we calm down, and actually what it does is calm down. It gives us the access to the tools that we have within ourselves, and then the answers will come. So get that breath going, get that peace going.
Step 3, I love this one, Nancy. Feel your feet where they are pointed.
Right, so-
Explain
I
that,
love
because
that.
I love it.
that.
I love it.
So when we're aware of where you are in space and time, then you have the power to change the direction, to be in charge and change the direction. A lot of times this kind of talks about what our, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, but it never happens. It's our motivation gets in our way, our darker thoughts, or are wanting to please somebody else.
Or maybe fear.
Or fear, anxiety, expectations of what they, without checking into what is that really actually possible to happen. So when we feel, I take in this particular step, there's many steps to it, but if you were to just read this and take, there's a couple of, first of all, where am I and where is this taking me? So just set in the moment and see what's pulling at you, and just imagine yourself going in that direction. And is that giving you the cheese down that pathway? Is that giving you grace down that pathway? And you use, this is the gift that you use with this, is your clairvoyant or your envisioning aspect to yourself, where you're calm, you're listening, and you're just going to see, okay, if I do this and I'm in this relationship 3 days from now, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, where is this going to take me? And am I happy with this? And then as you see that, you listen to your soul talk to you.
So it's kind of like picturing.
Picturing, absolutely. And then you get, okay, I don't like that, and you're kind of getting a sense of
You
that's
wanna
not...
go in a different direction.
direction, so that, listen to your soul, close your eyes again, or just envision, what if I made this choice? And then see where it takes you, 3 days, 3 weeks, 3
So
months.
it's that internal voice inside of you, that gut feeling that's going to bring you to where you need to go,
combining it,
as long
exactly.
as you listen.
And listen, and then we went back to the when you like yourself, you're building up your clairsentient, your clear feeling about and checking in with yourself and your soul, and then when you put it together with your clear vision, then you can create something very different in your life.
And
So-
you don't have to be a medium or a psychic to do this, though. So,
Right.
like,
No,
that's why I kind of
absolutely.
said picturing, because everybody has an imagination,
yes.
and everyone can picture where they want to
And
be.
sometimes we picture in pictures, but don't want to confuse anyone. Sometimes we picture in our thoughts. Sometimes we picture in our feelings. So imagine going forward, how do you feel about this? Now, how do your feelings change? So don't get caught up with, a lot of people aren't that visual. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. And how, like, Nancy, like, so you've been doing this for most of, you know, your, I don't want to say career, but at least with working with it. Like, how have you seen it change or develop and even change and affect you and the work that you do?
Oh, the work that I do, particularly with mediumship or just the intuitive readings that I give people, is well, personally right now, as the deeper I do this work, because I'm finding out I have been trained in a lot of different ways to do certain things, and I'm realizing that I need to step away from my training and really work with, now that the training wheels are off, work with what my inner voices are saying to me and what I want to do, and my messages to my, you know, people, the clients or my loved ones, is changed dramatically, where I can help them access a deeper part of themselves.
Because it
and
probably
take
comes more
actions.
from your soul.
Exactly.
Or their
Yeah.
soul.
Or their
too.
soul.
So instead of us, because we, a lot of times we're kind of put into the counseling role. Like, well, what should I do? I'm like, well, the cards are telling me and I'm feeling this, but what do you feel? I mean, that's really what it comes down to, because we can only give so much information.
Exactly true. So if I blend my energy around them and I listen to their soul through the little through the smaller words that they're maybe not willing to express certain things, I can intuitively feel that. But when you're seen, when your soul is seen and expressed in a loving, caring way, I find my clients can step into that power of their souls
And
much
it probably
easier.
brings out the very best in them,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
The creative's creative.
And that's when we're doing our, I think, our best work, because when we help empower our clients, as opposed to us telling them, well, this is what we see or this is what we do.
This is
we
what you
would-
can do.
But
This
not
is
only
where
that,
you can
right?
go.
Because when you, as a client, come to us and say, "What do I do?" You're
Right.
surrendering your power. You're
Exactly.
asking for somebody else to tell you the answer.
And as a reader, we want to give that power back
Right.
and inspire you.
I honestly tell everybody that they have God's free will, right? Because
Exactly.
everybody has that free will that
Absolutely.
God gave us all to make
Right.
our own decisions.
But it's
And
amazing how easy we're willing to surrender that sometimes to somebody else's thoughts.
I feel it has a lot. We surrender it a lot because we don't know how to use the tools that we have. And that's a key for me, for that inspires the work that I do, because I see the gifts and I tell them the gifts and I tell them the opportunities, and they're going, but that sounds great, but they leave the reading and then having a clue. So I like to leave them with homework.
Homework. I
things
send
to
people
do
home with
to-
homework. I
Exactly.
do.
Try this.
So step 4, Nancy, finding your inner soul maps through your emotions.
Well, it's my experience in all the work that I've been doing in all the years is that our soul has a plan for us, and that plan is embedded within ourselves,
we
within
come
our
down
psyches.
here with a map.
Plan. And the map is basic, here's controversy here, the ego contains our soul's map, and our emotions that rise up from the ego. I just got goosebumps of confirming that this is the message that I'm bringing it out. So listening to our emotions, energy in motion guides us to where our soul plans want to be. So if you're in a real struggle with your anxiety or your anger and you're smushing it down so you'd be a good person, we forget to listen to that soul's plan, because sometimes that anger or that anxiety,
It doesn't feel good.
it has the map. It says you should please turn left, not right. Although every teacher in the world is telling you to turn right. So I want you to feel that, find that map through your feelings, not your reactions to your feelings. Very patiently move through those reactions, get to that core feeling, and that core feeling will always guide you in the best direction for your soul.
That really resonates, because even I think with the spiritual aspect, we're always saying, oh, keep a positive attitude. Oh, focus on the good, focus on the light, walk this path. And I find we're tuning out of, or we're not necessarily, acknowledging what is it that we're feeling. Well, if you're feeling that, there's a reason why.
Exactly.
And a lot of times we say, well, put that thought behind you. It doesn't serve you, but it does. You need to acknowledge
face
that.
it, acknowledge it, see where it needs to go, or what you need to do with it.
And here's a little secret tip or tips and
we're
tricks
getting
is my favorite. Like tips is that sacred space that we talked about earlier. When we bring these emotions that we're so ready to judge as negative into our sacred space, which our sacred space does vibrate at a higher vibration than many other parts of our doubt or whatever, but we bring those doubts right into that sacred space. The vibration wants to entrain itself to the highest vibration, so it creates a resonance and a harmony, so that doubt, that anxiety, whatever it is, also comes up and is able to express itself clearly and precisely. So that's bringing those emotions into sacred space is key, as opposed to when I was taught to say my Hail Marys and Our Fathers and an act of contrition, I need to cleanse myself so that God will hear me. No, I think it's a little bit backwards. When I bring myself completely, purely as I am and ask for guidance, that's when I get the true guidance, because I'm being honest with myself and with spirit.
And we're asking. That's a big word. We have help. Right? We have divine help.
So
it's
much help.
always there. And sometimes, even us, we forget. We forget to ask.
We
right?
We do.
Yeah. Okay. So step 5, Nancy. I love how this gives you little exercises in between the steps. So Nancy's going to tell you after how to get this for yourself. So that's good. Brand's laughing at me because I'm looking all around.
She found the camera, though, so I'm very proud of her.
Spirits all around. Spirits all around. Step 5, forgive and begin to breathe again. Forgiving's a big thing for people.
Forgiving is huge. And what I have to say about forgiveness, it's not what you think it is. Really, forgiveness is about, there's a book called The Untethered Soul, but it's about unhooking yourself from belief systems and patterns that bonded you with the pain to begin with. So forgiveness is first you're forgiving the situation, the person, the place, and the thing, and everyone knows about that. But then there's a forgiveness to yourself for letting yourself be in that situation, which is, again, eyes on who you are and eyes on where you come from so that you can grow and learn from them. Then forgiving God is key here because the universe and God created this whole mess to begin with, and let's just get them back on board instead of being angry. I have I don't like sharing this story too much, but it's so personal to my mother. Had so many problems in her life that she was angry with God and didn't come together with that divine source to ask for help, and so it became a struggle in her life, or at the end of her life. And I really learned so much from her in doing that, because she finally accepted that divinity was on her side, even though she had those disappointments. And then the other step is to really let yourself have a new awareness, let yourself have that new learning. And I'm not talking about putting yourself back into the pain or putting yourself back into front of the person or situation that maybe exploited you or did something wrong with you. It's really about realigning yourself with your relationship with the situation. And like I said, that bonding emotion that brought you there, that's not giving you any joy. It's there's a little thing that happens where we get our circuit, our energy gets stuck in a circuit, and it just keeps reassuring itself that we are miserable. That we can't
And we get
move
stuck
forward.
in that pattern, right?
Yeah.
And that
And it's harder,
yeah,
the longer
exactly.
you're stuck in that pattern, the harder it is to get out.
Yeah.
And how do you get out? That's probably a big question. You know, what are some of the steps that you would do to get out of that?
Well, the first one is, for me, is to recognize it, to see the stuck emotion, and then let that emotion express itself. What is the message from it? And then to bring ourself into, we have many layers of consciousness. We have our conscious self and our higher conscious self, as well as our unconscious self. And so where unconsciously can we bring it into our heart and awareness and make a different choice?
'Cause everything goes back to that heart.
And then we can allow the divine grace to come in and open it up and begin to move the cycle in a different way.
So the energy gets changed a little, right?
And it gets changed, and so the energy goes up to heaven and refers to the beautiful wisdoms from heaven, and then it goes down deep into the earth to realize what are we as humans experiencing, what am I as a human experiencing, and then go back to that place of pain. So all of a sudden that place of pain has a new relationship or new information. Instead of a self-fulfilling prophecy, it has divinity and wisdom from the earth to now tell it something different. So we're now free to heal. And that's often very painful for people to break out of that cycle, whether it's grief or betrayal or anything like that. But life is bigger than what we're feeling in the moment. So
Exactly. We have to put on those glasses that show us the big picture.
show us a big picture, but it starts
It's hard
by,
sometimes, I think,
Yeah.
but
Which
we
is-
have to
yeah.
look beyond what's happening right now.
honor
right?
the feeling and then ask it to be balanced with something beyond itself.
So step 6, reclaim your inner gifts and talents.
This talks to me so much, this step about soul retrieval, about bringing back your soul back into yourself when you've
Yeah.
rejected so many parts of yourself. And also, as you can connect into your soul, here's another tip and trick and secret, is that your soul is connected to a lot of other, like quantum leaps, and a lot of other life experiences from other lifetimes, as well as
Our past lives.
past lives as well as current lives that are going on that are connected to your soul's wisdom. So as you relax into your sacred space and you feel and hear your soul, you could say, I really want to have the skill to be able to do such and such. I can't quite get past it. And your soul will take you to that talent, will take you to that gift, and help you to manifest it in your life.
Nancy, can you tell people what soul retrieval means? Because some people might not know
I
what.
understand. There's so many definitions of soul retrieval, and just my understanding of it is just allowing that part of your soul that has been squished in your life from whatever.
So would that mean our soul, of course we have our soul, and then there's bits and pieces from being hurt or trauma or
Exactly.
whatever that kind of break
Exactly.
away?
They break away through trauma, or suppressed through trauma, or through expectations in life, skipping over that part of your soul, that creative essence. So this is really about reclaiming that creative essence and knowing that that's where power is. In our society, our culture is very cerebral, go to college, get your degree, and you think through things. But again, I talked about your soul.
More analytical than
heart-centered creativity.
feeling.
And so the combination of analytical, the energy really works, believe it or not, up through our guts, into our hearts, and then up into our logical minds. So it's really our hearts that need to talk to our logical minds to create the vision, the full vision, like think of Nikola Tesla. Tremendous vision from his soul's creativity.
So they have to kind of connect your
They
soul and your
connect,
mind.
And you connect through your heart, through your creativity. And that's so that those reclaiming your inner gifts is really the first thing, created that inner creativity that suddenly sees things around itself, not to use the way you've been trained to use it, but sees the essence of the elements and puts them together to make something brand new, like a flashlight or a light or an invention.
And you're saying that your soul can see our past lives, but also our future lives, or this future life.
You see,
both?
Your soul has the vision. Our souls don't go in the straight line. So when we talk about past, present, and future, that's the way that we're built as humans, but our soul sees it as more of a spiral or cyclical. And so the future life where we are maybe a space engineer traveler or something, but we're in this life where we're doing something totally different, we can access that.
I think that's so
Is
cool.
that really
Like
cool?
now I want to know what I'm doing
Yeah.
later on.
But also it can access, our soul has many different expressions of itself in many different human forms. And those human forms are individual, they're people, they're awesome, and they're special unto themselves, but we can access the gifts, or we can access the talents that somebody in our soul group has already experienced.
So if I've had a couple people, and I know there's been times where I've experienced this myself, what do you say to people who say, I don't feel complete, or I don't feel whole?
First, I ask them to take a look inside of themselves and make friends with themselves. Like, where do you feel the whole? What does the whole express to you? Where does that absence happen for you? And let's clean that out. Let's make room for divine to come in. But first, we have to love ourselves for that divine to come in.
I think that's kind of, the tip of the day is finding that love for ourselves, which is hard sometimes, right?
Yeah, I mean,
But-
it's, we're, like you said, we're so struck into having to get up, take care of the kids, go to work,
Day-to-day
come home.
routine.
How often do
and
we
not-
take time for ourselves to regroup? It's literally
And
like,
we would feel so much better if we did, right,
do.
Nancy?
Yeah.
And make it a habit, a daily habit, a thought form. A
So I don't
practice.
want to leave out step 7, which is find your soul group.
That is I love that. Find your
Is that
soul
like
group. Yeah.
finding your friends?
Finding your friends,
tribe.
tribe, people
People that
those
are like-minded, maybe?
people that inspire us, people that many times we talk about our family and how much they disappointed us. And they could be our soul group, but maybe the first soul group was meant to rewound us or remind us where we had work to do. And I feel like, though, we need to sometimes step out of that group a little bit and find those that really resonate with us, that can reflect back. They're like mirrors to us to see our divinity, see our potential and challenges.
So sometimes your soul group isn't your family. It's
Yeah.
friends or colleagues or people that raise you up.
And sometimes when we release and we forgive and we move on, that family can be our soul group for absolutely, for sure. But we want, I feel, connections.
We kind of
to-
come
yeah.
down here with a soul group,
We do,
right?
We do.
Okay.
We do, and they're not that far off, and from us at all. And sometimes the soul group, or the person that we're meant to be with, it's a moment in time, or it's a short amount of time when we have. But they've inspired us. They've brought us to a wonderful
Yeah,
point
I
in our
know.
lives.
One of my friends did a tarot card reading for me and said, when is, I think that's the question, when's someone coming into my life in a relationship? And she's like, well, it's only, this is what you're going through right now is only a short period of time, but our perception of time is completely different than the whole
2 weeks is a long time, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
it can be.
Well, you know what? We only have 2 minutes left. Where are we? And this has just gone by so fast, hasn't it,
you.
Nancy? And thank you so much, both of you, for being here. And Nancy, tell everyone how to get their own 7 steps to soul power
this is
living.
on my website, angelscapes.net. This is a free download. You just click on it and then fill in the little forms, and you will get not only the pages and all the information, plus more that we didn't have time to say, but also will get a series within a month of steps and encouragements for how to follow.
And they come right in your
information.
email, because I just started getting them, and
Great.
it's a wonderful gift. And you can find out more about Nancy there also.
Yes.
So I hope everyone has enjoyed today's show and has learned something new, something that you can take away and add it to your life. But remember, the big thing today was that we need to have self-love.
Yes.
And we need to be active with that, and we need to
Yes.
quiet our minds so that, everyone up above can get messages to us of love, right?
Yes.
Because heaven's all about love, right?
It is.
That's how I
is.
see it. So thank you so much for joining us today. Until next time.